When it comes to selling online, everyone and their mother will tell you to use Shopify. But here's the truth. Shopify is not the best e-commerce platform for everyone. And in fact, depending on what you sell and how you run your business, Shopify could actually be the worst choice that you make. Now, I've run a 7-figure e-commerce store for almost 2 decades now, and I've used practically every shopping cart out there with real money on the line. And what I've found is that Shopify has some serious hidden drawbacks that no one talks about. Drawbacks that can cripple your business if you're not careful. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through when Shopify does not make sense, and the 3 best alternatives that might actually save you money, give you more flexibility, and keep your business under your control. Alright, so first let's start with when Shopify actually does not make sense. On the surface, Shopify looks cheap. Their lowest plan is $29 a month, which sounds pretty good. But here's the problem. Shopify is bare bones out of the box. You're forced to load up on apps, and their app store has over 12,000 apps. The average price of each one is about $66 a month. In the average Shopify store, they are running 6 to 8 apps, which means that most stores are paying $400 to $500 every single month just in app fees. Even the students in my class, and they run lean, tell me that they spend around $200 a month just on Shopify apps. So that $29 plan you thought you signed up for, it quickly turns into hundreds of dollars every single month. Now let's talk about payment processing next. Shopify has its own in-house gateway called Shopify Payments. And the catch is, it is only supported in about 22 countries. And if you don't live in one of those countries, you are forced to use a third-party processor where Shopify tacks on an extra 1% to 2% transaction fee on every single sale. Now 1 or 2% might not sound like much, but if you're doing 6 or 7 figures in revenue, that is thousands of dollars out of your pocket every single year, just for the privilege of not living in the right country. Now here's a fun fact. The majority of Shopify's revenue does not actually come from subscriptions. It comes from payment processing. Last year, credit card processing made up 73.5% of Shopify's revenue. Subscriptions were only 26.5%, and that tells you where their priorities really lie. But here's the worst part. You don't actually fully control your store on Shopify. During the pandemic, I had a good friend who sold hand sanitizer. He'd been selling it for years, totally legit. But when COVID hit, his supplier raised prices. So naturally, he had to raise prices too. Shopify, however, flagged him for price gouging and shut his entire store down overnight. He wasn't gouging anyone, he was just passing on his increased costs. But that didn't matter. His store was gone, his income was gone, and his SEO rankings got destroyed. It doesn't stop there. Shopify is extremely sensitive about what you can sell. Anything related to sex, adult products, firearms, chemicals, even certain supplements, they can pull your store down without warning. And when it comes to copyright or trademark issues, you're guilty until proven innocent. I've had friends get their stores taken down from fake infringement claims filed by competitors. And Shopify did not investigate. They just shut the whole site down, and it took weeks with lawyers to get it back up while revenue was lost in the meantime. So yeah, Shopify makes sense if you want something quick and easy, but if you care about costs, flexibility, or control over your own business, it can actually be one of the worst platforms you can choose. So Shopify has all these downsides. What is the best alternative? Let's talk about Woocommerce first. Woocommerce is basically WordPress with an e-commerce plugin bolted on. And here's the thing. WordPress powers over 40% of the entire internet. So you're building on the biggest platform out there that comes with some huge advantages over Shopify. First off, there's freedom. With Woo, you can sell literally anything you want. Adult products, firearms, supplements, chemicals, stuff that Shopify would never allow. No one's going to shut your store down because they don't like your product category. And you actually own your own site, you own your own data, and no platform can just pull the plug overnight. Second is cost. The Woocommerce plugin itself is free, and much of the functionality you need can be added with plugins that are either free or a one-time purchase. Some premium plugins do charge annual renewals for ongoing updates and support, but even then, the total bill is usually far less than Shopify. Third is SEO and content creation. This is where Woocommerce blows Shopify out of the water. Shopify's blog is clunky, their URLs aren't SEO friendly, and you're capped in what you can do. WordPress, on the other hand, is the best blogging platform in the world. If you want to drive traffic with content, whether that's blogging, long-form guides, or SEO, WooCommerce is the best choice, hands down. Now, there are downsides. With Shopify, they take care of everything: the hosting, the security, the updates. But with WooCommerce, you are on your own. You've got to get good hosting, you've got to stay on top of plugin updates, and sometimes plugins conflict with each other. And if you're not technical, you might need a developer on call. And WooCommerce can run really slow if you don't optimize it properly. But here's the flip side. WooCommerce can be insanely cheap to run. My kids actually run a print-on-demand store over at kidincharge.com, and their entire store costs them just $2.69 a month to keep online. That is it. Woo can easily be the cheapest way to run an online store while still being feature-rich and powerful, and it's not just for beginners. I have colleagues running high seven-figure stores on WooCommerce without any problems. Now that said, let me just give you a word of warning. WooCommerce is not for everyone. You do need to be tech savvy or at least a good problem solver. Things are going to break, plugins will conflict, and you're going to need to troubleshoot. And if you're not willing to deal with the occasional headache, Woo might drive you nuts. But if you value freedom, flexibility, and total ownership, it is one of the best options out there. By the way, if you're interested in starting your own profitable online store, make sure you sign up for my free 6-day e-commerce mini course below. It's 100% free, and I guarantee you'll learn a lot. Now let's talk about another Shopify alternative that almost no one talks about, and that's Shift4Shop. Shift4Shop used to be called 3D Cart, and it's been around forever, but it never gets the hype Shopify or BigCommerce get. And honestly, that's a shame because it actually gives you way more for way less if you fit their criteria. The biggest benefit is that Shift4Shop can be 100% free, but there is a catch. You must live in the United States, and you must process at least $1,000 a month using their payment gateway, Shift4 Payments. If you don't meet those requirements, it's not free. But if you do, you basically get an enterprise-level platform without paying a dime in subscription fees. And this isn't some watered-down plan either. You get unlimited products, unlimited staff accounts, a built-in blog, SEO tools, loyalty programs, gift registries, daily deals, an affiliate program, and even free email marketing baked right in. On Shopify, every single one of those features would cost you extra in the form of recurring app fees. But on Shift4Shop, most of that is included out of the box. Another big difference is that Shift4Shop does not nickel and dime you with transaction fees. Shopify makes most of its money off of payment processing. And if you're not in one of the 22 countries where Shopify Payments is supported, they will hit you with an extra 1% to 2% on every single order. With Shift4Shop, you can use whatever processor you want without penalty. And if you stick with Shift4 Payments, your monthly fee is literally zero as long as you hit that $1,000 threshold. SEO is another win. Shopify locks you into their URL structure, which isn't great for rankings. Shift4Shop lets you customize URLs however you want. And I've seen people migrate their stores over and keep their exact same URLs so they don't lose any Google rankings at all. Now there are downsides. The app ecosystem is way smaller than Shopify's. If you want cutting-edge AI tools or niche functionality, odds are that they're not going to exist. The interface also feels more dated, and because it's not as widely used, you will not find nearly as many developers or tutorials online. But that said, for the right person, it is fantastic. My daughter actually runs her jewelry store on Shift4Shop, and she loves it. It gives her all the features she needs, the built-in email marketing saves her a ton of money, and she doesn't feel like she's being nickel and dimed the way most Shopify users are. So Shift4Shop isn't for everyone. Its free plan is US only, and you need to be processing at least $1,000 a month for it to be free. But it can be one of the cheapest and most complete Shopify alternatives out there. Alright, so next, let's talk about BigCommerce. If there's one platform that really goes toe-to-toe with Shopify at the higher end, it is BigCommerce. And in fact, in a lot of ways, it fixes some of Shopify's biggest pain points. The first big difference is that you don't get nickel and dimed with apps. BigCommerce comes with a ton of functionality built right in. Things like advanced discounting, tiered pricing, buy one get one free offers, repeat customer discounts, all included out of the box. On Shopify, you'd be paying for plugins every single month just to get the same features. Second is product flexibility. Right now, Shopify limits you to 3 options per product and 100 variants. But BigCommerce does not have those restrictions. Let's say you're selling clothing with lots of sizes, colors, and styles, or customizable products that would break Shopify's limits. BigCommerce can handle it all. And then third is payment processing. Shopify penalizes you with a 1 to 2% transaction fee if you use an outside processor. BigCommerce does not do that. You can use whoever you want, no extra fee, no lock-in, and that freedom alone can save you thousands of dollars once you're at scale. Another big plus is multi-channel selling. BigCommerce lets you manage your listings on Amazon, eBay, Google Shopping, Facebook, Instagram, even Pinterest, all from the same back end, and your inventory syncs automatically across channels. Shopify makes you buy third-party apps for that same functionality. Now, it's not all perfect. BigCommerce's interface isn't as slick or as simple as Shopify, and Shopify wins on polish and ease of use. And because BigCommerce packs in so many features, the learning curve is going to be steeper. Their app store is also smaller than Shopify's, so if you want the latest AI-powered tools, you may not find them there. But here's a big one. BigCommerce charges you based on revenue and not profit. And that's fine if you're selling high-margin products. But if you're running a dropshipping business with thin margins, the fees can make up a large percentage of your profit. And that is why BigCommerce is usually not a good fit for dropshippers. Now that said, for stores with bigger catalogs, for B2B businesses that need things like wholesale pricing, or for sellers who want advanced discounting and multi-channel built right in, BigCommerce is a really strong alternative to Shopify. It gives you enterprise-level features without forcing you into a $2,000 a month Shopify Plus plan. Now next, let's talk about Wix, SquareSpace, and some of the other niche players out there because I get asked about them a lot. Now these platforms are fine if you're running a side hustle, a hobby shop, or if you just want to sell a couple of products here and there. Wix and SquareSpace are really website builders first and e-commerce platforms second. They look beautiful out of the box. They're super easy to set up, and they come with drag and drop editors that anyone can use. But the problem is that they just don't scale, and the real limitation is the app ecosystem. Shopify has over 12,000 apps. Woocommerce has tens of thousands of plugins, and BigCommerce has a growing marketplace. By comparison, Wix and SquareSpace have very few integrations. If you want advanced marketing, AI-powered add-ons, or serious e-commerce features, you're going to be stuck because those platforms don't have enough users to attract developers. For example, Squarespace doesn't even support Klaviyo, which is the industry standard email marketing provider. If you want to run serious e-commerce email, Klaviyo is non-negotiable, and that alone is a deal breaker for me. On top of that, Wix and Squarespace aren't designed to handle large catalogs or complex product configurations. If you're selling more than a handful of SKUs, or if you need custom variants, it gets messy fast. Now there are some older or more niche platforms like OpenCart, PrestaShop, ECommerce, heck, even Magento if you've got a dev team. But honestly, most of these either feel outdated, don't have the community support, or are just too heavy duty for 99% of small businesses. Magento is fantastic if you're running a $100 million store with devs on staff. But if you're trying to build a 6 or a 7-figure store, it is complete overkill. So the bottom line is this. If you just want a pretty site to sell a couple of products, Wix or Squarespace might work. But if your goal is to build a serious business you can scale, you will outgrow those platforms quickly. They're not bad platforms, they're just not built for entrepreneurs who build real brands. So here's the bottom line. Shopify is popular and for good reason. It's easy, it looks great, and it has a massive app store. But it's not the best choice for everyone. If you want freedom and the ability to sell anything without worrying about being shut down, Woocommerce is the way to go. If you want a platform that's insanely cheap but still loaded with features right out of the box, Shift4Shop can be a great fit as long as you're based in the US and meet the payment requirements. And if you're running a bigger catalog or if you need advanced discounting and multi-channel built right in, BigCommerce is a strong alternative to Shopify. But Wix, Squarespace, and the smaller players, they're just not designed for entrepreneurs who want to build serious, scalable businesses. They're fine for hobbies or small side hustles, but you will outgrow them quickly. At the end of the day, the right platform depends on your business model, your budget, and how much control you want over your store. And the important thing is to not just follow the crowd and pick Shopify because everyone else is doing it. Do your homework, test drive the alternatives, and pick the platform that fits your needs the best. Now that you understand your platform options, make sure you watch this video here on all the different e-commerce business models you can choose from and their pros and cons.